Tired of playing in Security Control and Three Musketeers? Well, don't worry, I have just the deck for you. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Steven Rodriguez. I'm your true champion, and today I'm going to be showing you my current black blocker deck for the Digimon TCG Set 6 format. Y'all know, if you've been watching any of my streams or have heard me say anything about black in Digimon, I love the color. I find the aspect of just being the beatdown deck so appealing and really versatile when it comes to combining any actual good, solid cards the color has. And as a VT6, black has a ton of solid cards that I am using in this deck. The deck will be focused around Craniamon and all the various blockers that exist within black. The really cool thing about Craniamon is that it protects your blockers from being deleted by your opponent's card effects. This is really good against any sort of removal-heavy deck like Three Musketeers, Security Control, but being that you're a blocker deck, you're also inherently good against any super aggro deck like Bond of Friendship, D-Brigade, or any other rookie-based strategy. All in all, I'm a huge fan of not only the black color as of right now in BT6, but also this deck, because it seems to be very adaptive, or it seems to be like a response to the current changing metagame. Oh, if everyone's playing all these really crazy OTK decks and Security Control decks, let's play a deck that doesn't die and can just keep dudes on the board. If you guys are excited for the continuation of some awesome Digimon videos here on the channel, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and click that bell for notifications so you know when my videos go live for you. And if you have any other obscure decks that no one's really talking about that you want me to look into, be sure to let me know down below in the comments. But with all that being said, let's hop over to the tabletop setup and check out my black blocker deck list for the Digimon TCG. All right, y'all, here we are at the tabletop setup. Now, before I get into the actual card by card of this deck list, y'all should know the main idea is very simple. Our main boss monster is Craniamon. He has blocker, he's really big at 12,000 DP base, and he has this really cool all turns effect. Your Digimon with blocker cannot be deleted by your opponent's card effects. Now, the word deleted is very important. They can still be sent to the trash, and they can still be like killed via game mechanics, like DP reduction, for example. So definitely keep that in mind. And the idea is we utilize Craniamon as well as the amazing slew of blockers that black has access to just create a really sticky board that most decks like Security Control and Three Musketeers cannot deal with. The added bonus is, again, all of these Digimon that are sticky are blockers, so they naturally counter aggressive decks as well, like Rookie Rush, D-Brigade, and even the Bond-based decks. By the way, y'all, if anything in this video is like confusing to you, or you want to ask me any particular questions, be sure to follow me over on Twitch. I go live all the time and plan on playing the Digimon TCG quite a bit over there. So stop by, ask your questions live and in person, and we can always have a nice little chat. With that said, let's hop into the card by card, starting off, of course, with the eggs. Now, this is a black blocker deck, so we're naturally playing 4 copies of the starter deck Craniamon that gives us plus 1000 DP if the Digimon has the blocker ability. And then we're playing only 1 copy of the new Pagumon that came out in set 6. I know this card is really useful in like D-Brigade decks or other black Royal Knight type strats for the ability to like recur advantage, but really, we're not hoping our dudes die in this deck. We're actually trying to do the opposite, you know, keep them in play. So a card like Pagumon doesn't really get that much value. In fact, I've been considering cutting this card for the other Craniamon that can give plus 1000 with reboot, because we do play rebooters in this deck. As of course, reboot blocker is still an amazing combination, even today. Now, I actually thought it'd be good to start off with the level 6s instead of the level like 3s this time. So let me know if you guys prefer this method of doing deck profiles moving forward. But starting off, of course, we have the main boss himself, 4 copies of Craniamon. I've actually always loved Craniamon since he came out in 1.5, and it wasn't for the purpose of, you know, playing a big black blocker deck. It was more for the purpose that we're using him for today, which is to counter deletion-based strats like Three Musketeers and Security Control. Being able to build an entire deck actually around this card has also been really cool, and I've really enjoyed it. So play 4 of this card. I know he's a 4 cost to evolve, and that's really scary, but when you're playing more along the lines of like a slower game and you're just trying to like net advantage over time and not go for like, oh, here's 3 plus security swings in a row to win the game, it's actually really okay to have a 4 evolution cost. Rounding off our level 6s, we have 3 copies of Genkumon, probably the best level 6 in black. objectively in terms of like what he does. Being able to on Digivolve delete all of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest play cost can make for some hilarious interactions, especially if people don't play around it. And then having the added benefit of being a plus security attacker when your opponent has something unsuspended at 12,000 base is just so nice. And again, that 4 evolution cost just does not matter with how this deck actually plays. And believe it or not, we're not playing any other level 6s, no Alphamon, no nothing. And you don't need to. Alphamon's a great card, but it's not needed for this style of deck. You're not trying to do like a crazy combo with Zubagon Punch or Sunriseamon promo to just get big damage and a bunch of resources. You're just trying to sit there and keep your dudes safe while you just slowly grind at your opponent and get value in other means. If you are looking to add anything extra or replace anything in the level 6 lineup, I actually would not consider Alphamon. I would instead consider the Black Metal Garurumon that has Digiburst, because he's really useful also against things like Security Control and Jessamon. And he does kind of the same thing that Genkumon does, but he costs 3 to evolve instead of 4. So just keep that in mind. There are other options in this deck, but don't think your only other option is Alphamon. Also, for all you newer players out there, as of recording this video, Craniamon's like only $6 and Genkumon is like less than $1. So this deck is really cheap to build. So if you're interested in it, definitely pick it up because there's really no reason not to. Moving away from our level 6s and going to our level 5s, we have some pretty cool cards here. Firstly, we have Gigadramon at 4 copies. This is the new black and red card from set 6. We also have a Blast from the Past in Andromon. He's the level 5 blocker for black, or should I say one of the level 5 blockers for black. And then we have 2 copies of Megadramon from the starter deck that can give blocker as inheritable. The really important card here is Gigadramon because he has that amazing inheritable up opponent's turn. This Digimon gets power plus 2,000. This in conjunction with Craniamon, along with some other cards we're playing in this deck, can make him 14,000 or even 15,000 DP during your opponent's turn. And if he has blocker and reboot, you can see where the value comes from there. Andromon is actually a really interesting card to talk about. I've seen a lot of lists try things like Warumanzemon and of course Gogmamon, the original king of black. But the reason why Andromon is really cool is we play a lot of level 4s in this deck, and being able to turn any like lingering level 4s that aren't blockers into a blocker that can just like sit there and protect you against like random things and just be like a sticky body against like security control is really useful. So having just like a natural blocker, I think that you could hard play, that you can evolve into on things that aren't blockers, is really useful. And then of course Megadramon, the main purpose of this card is to evolve Genkumon on top of it, so that way we can turn him into a blocker as well and have like 2 big Royal Knight beat sticks and enable us to like keep our Craniamon alive by blocking with our Genkumon. Just like some fun combos right there that the deck can do. A thing I've always loved about black is how crazy strong all the inheritables are, and being able to stack them on just the right Digimon. It's a really satisfying way to play, I think. Moving away from level 5s onto level 4s, believe it or not, we're playing a lot of level 4s in this deck. We have 4 copies of Dark Tyrannomon, 4 copies of Nanimon, I'll talk about this in a second, 3 copies of Shademon, and 3 copies of Mechanorimon. First things first, let's get this out of the way. Mechanorimon, Shademon, Dark Tyrannomon, they're all blockers. They all synergize perfectly with this deck's main strat. Mechanorimon is so good against anything like D-Brigade, Rookie Rush, etc. Shademon is a security Digimon, and Dark Tyrannomon is a 1-cost evolution blocker that's just super useful. Now, the real star of the show, though, is Nanimon. I cannot believe I forgot this card existed when I was building Black Royal Knights originally. If you guys don't know, this is just a security Digimon that's a level 4, but it's 3 costs to play. Anyone who's like been a veteran of this channel knows that I love the yellow card Repamon for how it enables so many cool ways to deck build in Shine Greymon decks. But Nanimon does the exact same thing, just in black. So a really cool thing about Nanimon is A, gives you more, security effects that can plus your board and make it easier to kill your opponent. But B, it also enables you to run less level 3s in your deck. I'm only playing 12, and I'm playing, 14 level 4s, and that's because of Nanimon. Like, why would I play more level 3s that I could potentially hard play when instead I could play a level 4 that I could hard play for the exact same cost? And again, having cool things like Andromon that can immediately make Nanimon way more valuable is cool to me. So If y'all have not already, please play Craniamon in your black decks from now on. This card is insane, and you kind of need to play with it to really understand like where the value comes from. Oh, also, if you want to consider like any other level 4s in this deck, honestly, these feel like the best ones to me. But playing something like Tankmon so you can have like a non-blocker way to play around Bow Huckmon seems to be the best option. But I really like Dark Tyrannomon because going first, you can just evolve into this, have a blocker guaranteed, and just like have a field day. And moving on to level 3s, normally the things I start with, but now we're ending with them. Firstly, we're having the best black level 3 ever printed. Well, that might be debatable now. 4 copies of the Reboot Toy Agumon. Ever since Black's inception, the greatest combo has always been Reboot plus Blocker, and this is no different. Being able to have a Craniamon that can attack and block is like how you naturally gain aggression with this deck. So yeah, it's a really cool combo. Use it if you have it. And the second star of the show for level 3s is 4 copies of Chikurimon. This card is debatable as the best black level 3. It's basically a spider shooter, but it's a level 3 Digimon. It has the security effect at the end of the battle, trigger de-digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. This is our main win condition if our opponent like plays perfectly with their Bond of Friendship or Jessamon deck, because we couldn't play around their huge like, you know, Judgment of the Blade plus Delicate Plan, Jessamon OTK turn, right? Well, if we check this, you can de-digivolve their Jessamon and stop their entire turn, or you can de-digivolve their Bond of Friendship and stop their entire turn. So it's just like a really punishing security effect that's also a Digimon. Really awesome. And finally, we have 4 copies of the 2-drop vanilla. I'm playing 3-in-1 because this is shiny and I love pissing off my OCD opponents. I'm the worst. But yeah, super consistent, super solid. The reason why we can get away with playing like a smaller lineup of level 3s is again because of the Craniamons. They're basically level 3s, but they're level 4s. So it's like even better. The only other card that's really worth mentioning for the level 3 lineup is the set 6 Toy Agumon that can give plus 1000 DP during all turns to a Digimon with blocker. That is pretty cool, and it can make your Craniamon 16,000, but really, how badly do you need to play around Wyvern's Breath against security control? I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world, and I'd rather have like a 2-drop vanilla that I could hard play and then instantly turn into another blocker, if that makes sense. So yeah, this lineup is really consistent, really simple, and I think gets a lot of value in every game you play. So yeah, that wraps it up for all the Digimon in this deck. Let's now talk about the option and tamer cards. Starting off, of course, we have, in my opinion, the best black option card, 4 copies of Ultimate Flare. Now, a lot of people will tell you that you should play a combination of Ultimate Flare and Iron Fisted Onslaught, and I would tend to agree with them that this is a very good card, but I would disagree in that you have to play it in every black deck, and I'll tell you why. Because while Iron Fisted Onslaught is like basically Black Gaia Force, Ultimate Flare is basically Black Gaia Force, but also it can do more than that. So what I mean by this is while Ultimate Flare can kill pretty much everything that Iron Fist Onslaught can kill, it could potentially kill more than that. So if you only have room for like 4 removal option cards, I would just say play 4 of these. The only real matchup where the difference matters is against security control and them like hard playing things like Magna Andromon or Lucemon, for example. But as I've stated many times in this video, you beat security control no matter what. So you don't need to remove their board in order to beat them. You can just beat them without it. So I'd rather play a card like this, which heavily punishes Jessamon decks that are too aggressive, heavily punishes Bond of Friendship decks, and heavily punishes anyone that's not prepared to deal with this many Ultimate Flares. Soapbox left. If you do want to try some combination of Ultimate Flare and Iron Fist, that's totally fine. But for now, and to me, 4 Ultimate Flare is the way to go. And rounding out the option cards, we have 1 copy of Black Memory Boost. I figured instead of playing like an 8th level 6, a 13th level 3, a 15th level 4, I would just play one of these. And the added bonus of being able to sometimes have more than 4 memory at the start of your turn, so you can go for like a big Genkumon kill plus attack turn, is really nice. So the 1 copy of Memory Boost is nice to see and can do a lot in this deck. And rounding off, of course, we have our 3 Tamer cards. We're playing 2 copies of Set 1 Tai Kamiya and 1 copy of Izzy, Azumi, and Joe Keto. This feels pretty self-explanatory. We're playing a blocker deck. We want our dudes to be bigger during our opponent's turn, and we're playing a black deck. So playing Izzy and Joe is a nice way to enable tons of plays. And if you ever get both of these and they're both proccing, you know, that 4 evolution cost Crania and 4 evolution cost Genkumon doesn't look so bad anymore now, does it? And yeah, that about does it for the set 6 black blocker deck. I've really been enjoying messing around with like all of these super powerful black cards and figuring out the best way to use them in this format. And right now, given all the 3 Muskies and security control hype there is, especially now that the starter decks are available and all those powerful Geo Greymons and Cordramons are everywhere, this deck just feels like a really awesome response to that meta and has tons of avenues to adapt and improve beyond this if the meta continues to change. Definitely give this deck a try if you haven't already. And like I said earlier, it's a pretty cheap deck relative to other ones that are out there. And so if you want to have like a free locals day every now and then, this is a really awesome deck to play around with. And boom, there you guys go. That wraps up my black blocker deck list for the Digimon TCG Set 6 format. If y'all did enjoy and got any value out of this video, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and click that bell for notifications so you know when my videos go live for you. And if you have any lingering questions or want to see me use this deck live and in person, be sure to follow me over on Twitch. Link is down below as always, and hopefully I can see y'all in there very soon. But with all that being said, I've been your true champion, Steven. Please be sure to work hard, rest easy, and live well. And I will see you all next time. Peace.